The luxury of Everlight Airlines' premier class cabin shimmered with golden lights and soft leather upholstery. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more captivating stories. As boarding progressed smoothly, the hum of conversation, the clink of glasses, and the soft rustle of designer fabrics filled the air. Luggage wheels glided across the carpet as elegantly dressed passengers took their plush seats, each exuding the unspoken assurance of belonging. Into this gleaming whirl stepped Leona Rivera, dressed simply in a pale sky blue cotton dress, her only accessory a silver bracelet engraved with tiny stars. Her long, dark hair was tied neatly, her posture calm, but something about her carried a sense of grace not reliant on wealth. She approached the first-class cabin entrance with quiet confidence, ticket in hand. A head flight attendant, Nadia Halston, noticed her approach. Nadia was known for her efficiency and striking appearance, flawless makeup, a tightly bound blonde ponytail, and a navy blue uniform that always appeared freshly tailored. She spotted Leona and immediately stepped forward. "Ma'am," Nadia said with a polite but unmistakably skeptical tone, "this section is reserved for first-class travelers." Leona, slightly startled but still composed, offered a soft smile and held out her boarding pass. "Yes, I'm aware. This is my seat." Nadia took the ticket gingerly, examining it as if it might fall apart in her hands. Her manicured fingers traced the barcode, and a wrinkle formed between her brows. She gave Leona a slow, appraising look. "There must be a system mix-up," Nadia murmured, though loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. "Let me confirm with the cabin manager." Passengers began to glance over. Some turned away, disinterested. Others exchanged judgmental looks. A man in a charcoal suit chuckled under his breath, shaking his head. "Every day, someone tries to sneak in. They really should tighten security." Leona's cheeks flushed faintly, but she stood her ground. She had spent years working behind the scenes in the aviation industry before stepping away to focus on humanitarian work. This trip had been a gift, one she hadn't even wanted at first. Her husband, Darian Blake, had insisted. "You never treat yourself," he'd said. "Take this flight, unwind, and I'll join you at the retreat once I wrap up the board meeting." What she hadn't said was that Darian wasn't just her husband. He was also the CEO and majority stakeholder of Everlight Airlines. But Leona had no intention of using his name to gain favor. Meanwhile, Nadia returned, this time accompanied by the cabin manager, Mr. Graydon, a tall man with salt and pepper hair and an air of composed authority. He glanced at the ticket and then at Leona. "Ms. Rivera," he said diplomatically, "it appears there may be an issue with the booking system. Would you mind stepping aside while we verify the details?" Leona hesitated. "I'd prefer to stay near my seat if possible." A few seats over, a woman wearing an extravagant pearl necklace let out a scoff. "Some people just can't accept where they belong." Her words floated through the cabin like a draft of cold air. Leona inhaled deeply. She could have ended this with one sentence. "My husband owns the airline." But something inside her resisted. She wanted to be treated fairly as herself, not as an extension of someone else's status. Then the cabin door opened. A quiet hush spread like ripples across water. Stepping inside with effortless poise was Darian Blake, wearing a tailored gray suit and a serene expression. At 6'3", he had a calm command that needed no fanfare. His presence didn't demand attention, it simply received it. His gaze moved across the cabin, pausing when he saw Leona standing uncomfortably, surrounded by watchful eyes and nervous airline staff. His calm demeanor shifted ever so slightly. He walked forward with measured grace. "Is there a reason my wife hasn't been seated yet?" Darian asked, his voice low, but carrying weight. Mr. Graydon straightened. "Sir, we didn't realize." "You didn't realize," Darian repeated. His gaze flicked toward Nadia, whose confident poise had vanished. "I requested this seat specifically for her. She's traveling solo today because I had a last-minute meeting." Is that the problem? No, sir, Nadia replied, almost inaudibly. We simply weren't aware. Leona reached for Darian's hand, giving it a slight squeeze, as if asking him not to escalate things. He gently returned the gesture, but didn't look away from the flight crew. She has every right to be here, he said firmly. She chose to use her own name when traveling. That's called humility, not a system error. The cabin was now silent. Then Darian turned toward the rest of the passengers, who now sat in stiff, uncomfortable awareness. You all just witnessed what subtle judgment looks like. A woman who didn't look the part was questioned and sidelined, not because of any rule, but because of an assumption. Leona, now seated beside him, remained quiet, but the silver bracelet on her wrist sparkled in the light, a gift from Darian from the first day they met. After a moment, Darian addressed Mr. Graydon again. I'll be having a conversation with the board about this experience, not to punish anyone, but to make sure every passenger is treated with the dignity they deserve. Then, turning to Nadia, you'll be leading our upcoming empathy-based service workshops, not as a punishment, but as a learning opportunity. Everlight Airlines isn't just about luxury, it's about humanity. Nadia nodded silently, her throat tight. Darian looked back at his wife and smiled softly. Now, let's fly. The sun dipped over the ocean as Leona and Darian sat on the balcony of a seaside villa, glasses of sparkling juice in hand. The wind tugged playfully at Leona's dress. You didn't have to come to the flight, she said. I wasn't planning to, Darian replied. But something told me you might need me today. Leona smiled. You know, it still feels strange being the wife of someone so powerful. I've always tried to stay out of the spotlight. And yet you shine in it anyway, Darian said. You organized a nationwide clean water initiative last month, Leona. That's power. Not the kind you wear on your wrist or fly in. The kind that changes lives. She looked at him, surprised. You remember the details. I remember everything, he said gently. And I'm glad you stood your ground today. You didn't need me, but I'm always here. Leona placed her head on his shoulder, the bracelet cool against her skin. Do you really think I could do more within Everlight? I don't think, Darian said. I know. That's why I had a position created. Director of Passenger Experience. It's yours. If you want it. Leona looked out at the waves and smiled. It feels like the right time. I'm ready. In the end, in a world where appearances often define first impressions, it's easy to forget the value of quiet strength, inner dignity, and simple kindness. Leona's story reminds us, power isn't always loud. It's often found in the calmest voices and most patient hearts.